The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt. So get your monster hunting gear ready because we're talking Monster Hunter. Welcome and thank you for listening to another episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast. I am your host, the Salty Nerd, and today's episode we're going to be talking about the new movie starring Milla Jovovich, Monster Hunter. And I'm joined as always by my illustrious co-hosts, starting with the Barbarian Space Viking. What's up, dude?
Hey,
how you doing?
I'm good.
Good.
Trying to find my notes, but
You took notes on this movie?
a little bit. Well, I just kind of I don't really take notes. I write down like little smart ass comments as I'm going through the show.
I'm looking forward to them. I'm also joined by the ambassador of estrogen, Jude.
Hey.
What's up?
Wow.
Wow. Strong words right out the
I
gate.
hate this movie so much,
I
and
know.
I can't wait to talk about it.
Good. I'm so happy that you hate it. I'm also joined by Matthew Kadish. What's up, man?
Glad to be here, and I can't wait to listen to Jude's thoughts on this terrible movie.
She's gonna have such a hard time not swearing.
I can do it.
You can do it. I believe in you.
It's too bad she doesn't like nerd movies on the Salty Nerd Show.
Oh no. All right, well, let's talk about it.
Oh,
Do you have
you're
the
going to get it.
You got the synopsis, Jude? Is there a synopsis for this movie?
Okay, so I know I normally write a synopsis.
Mhm.
However, what I wrote was just my experience watching
Oh
this.
no.
But I'll give you the IMDb
Okay.
synopsis so that people know what we're talking about.
Okay.
So, Monster Hunter, when Lieutenant Artemis and her loyal soldiers are transported to a new world, they engage in a desperate battle for survival against enormous enemies with incredible powers. Feature film based on the video game by Capcom. So, here are my notes. 2020 Monster Hunter. PG with a runtime of 1 hour 43
This
minutes.
was PG.
I'm sorry, PG-13.
I was gonna say.
1 hour 43 minutes. This movie is every Facebook post I hide with nightmare-sized insects. Soldiers end up in an alternate reality where the insects are supersized. I hate this so much. I hope the Diablos eat them. I'm gonna need
Diablos.
I'm gonna need to medicate I actually wrote I'm gonna need to medicate myself to sleep through the spider nightmares I'm about to have tonight. I can't think of a single video game movie I've ever liked. Can everyone please die so I cannot have to watch this anymore? Do gamer people like this? Do I have the wrong kind of brain for this? I wish I was
Woman's brain.
I wish I was one of them people that like dumb movies. It's still better than Outside the Wire.
Listen,
It's still better.
you like a lot of dumb movies, okay? So
That's harsh. Oh man.
Outside the Wire. Oh, that
That was
was
that. Okay, listen, you know what's funny
Yeah,
though that you
that
said
was
that?
awful.
Because I was going to mention to you when we started recording, and I'm like, Jude, this is another 7-hour movie.
Yeah.
It
I
felt
quit. I told Kadish, I'm playing my Vader card and I'm quitting.
Really?
Yeah.
When did you walk out?
I think there was probably like 30 or 40 minutes left.
So the big dragon fight at the
Did
end.
you see Cat Dude?
Oh, did you see
Yes.
the cat dude?
Yes, I saw Cat Dude.
That was
I
fun.
think I walked out during the dragon fight. And he fell asleep at one point and woke up and said, "Did they kill it?" And I went, "I don't know."
I fell asleep twice during this movie. I had to actually force myself to rewatch it so like I could intelligently talk
Yeah.
about it.
I did too.
I got up off the couch and I just started doing shit so I didn't have to watch this. Because I thought it was ending because like she got transported
Yeah.
back, the helicopter, and then I like took the dog outside and came back, and now all of a sudden there's like dragons, and I was like, you know what? No, no, I'm done.
Dragons are always cool. Okay, there's no such thing as an uncool dragon.
Did you have fun with this movie?
I was rooting for the dragon.
Yeah,
I want everyone to
I
die.
actually kind of was.
The
too.
dragon can live.
I usually like Milla Jovovich movies.
Yeah.
because they're just so cheesy and stupid.
Yep.
I did not buy her for 1 second in
Yes.
any of this.
Yeah.
I don't look at Army Rangers and go Milla Jovovich and other hot chick driving the Humvee.
Mm-hmm.
They're just these characters did not.
What characters?
Not worry.
There's
I cared nothing about anybody because I knew every single one of them was going to die.
Well, not only that,
And quickly, and none of them mattered.
if you
So,
ever have a definition of a one-dimensional character, it's everybody in this movie.
yeah,
Like there is no character development whatsoever. You get a little bit with
I felt like
Mila.
I felt like I watched a couple different movies. Like the first half of this movie was her on the rock island in the middle of the sand ocean. Okay.
Yeah.
With the spiders, and that was a horror movie.
Mhm.
That was like-
that was straight up a horror movie that's PG-13.
it's like Pitch Black with Riddick,
Kind
right?
of. Yeah.
I got those vibes from
And then once we got to Super Saiyan Ron Perlman,
it.
then I was into this. I'm
Oh,
like,
really?
I'm like, okay, we got some cool cartoony characters, and
Yeah.
we got some dudes. We got cat furry dude on the ship who's
Cat chef.
making some sushi and shit.
He's got
you
a
know?
hairball in the beer.
Yeah, that was great. I love
Are
that
you drinking
part.
out of my
But
mug
at that
again?
point,
But-
you're
but-
already so checked out
Yeah.
because
Yes.
this movie sucks.
Yeah, it's like my notes is like, oh, spiders. I've seen this before in Aliens, that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And it's just bad actors spouting out horrible military jargon is always humorous. And cool sandworm. What else did I write? Not buying into these people.
Oh, the Triceratops
I was
sandworm
excited
thing?
at first when I thought it
Um,
was a sandworm, and then it
It was a
became
Triceratops.
like a rhino or something.
yeah.
And I was
And
like, oh, that's stupid.
I got a little bit pissed off when she pulled the Rambo cauterizing her wound with the gunpowder.
Oh, that was so dumb.
I'm like, what is she doing? You were not Sylvester Stallone.
And you
Quit.
kind of need your bullets here.
It was just ridiculous. And it's just,
My biggest thing, like I could turn my brain off and just watch the CGI nonsense happening on screen. I was able to do that.
it's
It
like-
did take me two
and
times.
I did, right? I think this is a quote. I think this is just one of those movies in which the absurdness must be expected and enjoyed.
Yes,
And
100%.
I generally have no problem doing that. Yeah, I mean, you guys know me. I'm gonna turn your brain off, eat some popcorn, and enjoy. I had a hard time with that with this movie.
Mhm.
This movie was bad.
I
It was
think
bad.
Could not have even been redeemed by boobs.
It was like terrible.
Wonder Twin.
There was no
Powers.
boobs. If there was some fucking boobs in this movie,
Still would have been shitty.
I would have given it a better score. It was just.
I know what to expect when I watch a Mila Jovovich
Mm-hmm.
movie.
This,
She is her own genre of movies
Right.
at this point.
You're not wrong.
If she's cast in the
Resident
movie,
Evil is an actual good movie, though.
Well, that's
No,
debatable. Those.
it's
Okay, it's an actual enjoyable movie.
I don't know.
We need to watch those movies.
We
someday.
do sometime. Yeah, I
She's
do.
no Tomb Raider.
No, she's not.
No.
But she always tries to be. And what I respect about Mila is she knows what she's good at and she lives in it and she's not apologetic about it. I remember watching an interview with her when they were talking about Hellboy. She was in Hellboy with Ron Perlman too.
She was?
Yeah, she was the witch queen or whatever.
No, she was in the remake.
Yeah, the
wasn't
remake.
She,
Yeah.
and that didn't have Ron Perlman in it.
Oh no, that's right.
That had David
She
Harbour.
was
David
really
Harbour.
good in that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
David
She-
Harbour, not so much.
I kind of appreciated how we'd end one part of the movie and we'd start the next part of the movie, which was like, they might as well have just put.
They leveled up, dude. It's a
Yeah.
video game movie.
And then we have an exposition dump to explain the next part of it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, oh, well, we have to kill this dragon to do this and that. And, it was just preposterous.
On an
It was-
entertainment level, this movie is not well put together.
No,
it's
it's
very
not.
dull. It's very boring. But because I knew what I was expecting from her movies, I was like, okay, so click brain off.
I'm gonna give it a quarter star.
Oh, we're
Because-
doing star ratings already?
Because, well, I'm just to my rating.
We're 8 minutes in, Vader.
I'm at a 0
Okay.
Yeah.
right now. I'm
Okay.
giving it a quarter star for Ron Perlman,
Okay.
Okay.
and I'm giving it a quarter star because I thought the costumes and swords and shit were kind of cool.
I like the costumes and swords,
And
but
I'll also give it a quarter star because the dragon was neat.
okay. Did you guys like
But
the
that's
CGI?
it. I'm at 3/4 of a star. That's not even a 1-star crap fest yet, dude.
Yikes.
Yeah.
So I need some more
We'll
stuff.
see if we can boost it. Maybe Kadish can help us out. What did you think about this movie?
Okay. So,
Oh boy, here we go.
all right. So
Get comfortable.
Yeah.
First of all, I was a fan of this video game.
Okay.
So this movie is based off of the Monster Hunter franchise and more specifically Monster Hunter World. And I hadn't played any of the other Monster Hunter games, but I did play Monster Hunter World and I had some friends who were like super into it. And basically the concept behind it is that you play a hunter who tracks down these huge monsters. And it's basically an RPG where you level up your character by doing, like, every monster is a boss fight, basically. And so, like, it's these big epic things, and you have your choice of weapon that you can specialize in. You have to learn how to use the weapon. And it's like these like super huge long swords, or like these huge bows, or like rifles, or like whatever. And so, like, depending on, you know, how you want to spec your character, you have all these different weapons and moves that you can do with the weapon to take down these monsters. And every monster has its own, like, kind of like method of getting it killed. And it's a really fun game. And basically, the game was like a huge hit for Sony. And around the time that the game hit, movie studios started calling for, you know, the rights to make a Monster Hunter movie. But unfortunately, before this game came out, another filmmaker had snatched up the rights for it after 5 years of negotiation. And so basically he beat them all to the punch. And you guys keep calling this a Mila Jovovich movie, and it's not. It's a Paul W.S. Anderson movie.
Oh no! Not like this! Ah!
Now, if you remember who Paul W.S. Anderson is, he's the writer-director behind the original Mortal Kombat and the Resident Evil movies. And he's also Mila's husband.
Right?
Yeah.
And
I knew that going into this.
yeah, and if anyone out there has listened to our Mortal Kombat talk, I went into great detail as to why Paul W.S. Anderson is one of the worst filmmakers in the history of cinema. And, you know, I was actually kind of a fan of his early on in his career, but he's made kind of like a career of making really terrible movies.
With starring his wife.
Yeah, well, I mean, like he made, I think Event Horizon's the only movie he made, or no, Shopping and Event Horizon are the only movies he's made without her, something like that. But he's a terrible writer. He's a decent enough director in terms of, like, he knows where to put a camera and how to make a frame look pretty. And we see a lot of his signature, like, CGI zoom outs where it's like, you know, you see these big vistas, and in Mortal Kombat it looked really chintzy, but the CGI has caught up to the point where it looks like
Looks pretty. Yeah, this movie
looks photorealistic, you know. So basically he took this movie is basically a sequel to Monster Hunter World. A lot of the hunter characters like Tony Jaa and Ron Perlman and stuff like that are straight from the video game. But for some reason, he wanted to bring in, you know, military people from the real world into this high fantasy world that the video game takes place in. And I know that you guys probably couldn't pick up the storyline from just watching the movie. But the storyline of the video game is basically there's the old world, which is where all the humans live. And there's this place called the New World, which is like a whole new continent that's across an ocean. And this is where monsters kind of roam free. And every year, or every 100 years, there's this migration of monsters from the old world to the new world. And it's been speeding up over time. So it happens every decade now. And so the humans who go to explore the new world keep running into these greater elder dragons and other monsters that the elder dragons kind of spawn. And they have to fight these things and try to figure out why they're migrating. And so, like, the research council is like this thing that Ron Perlman's character kind of heads up. And Tony Jaa's character is a part of, like, the Fifth Fleet.
Does he have the sand pirate ship in the game?
Yes, but, like, it wasn't in Monster Hunter World, but it was in previous Monster Hunters. So anyway, Paul W.S. Anderson kind of became a fan of the game, and he started trying to get the rights from Capcom to do it. And because his Resident Evil franchise was a big moneymaker for them, they granted him the rights to do this. And it's his brainchild to kind of cross over with, like, the real world, which is our world, which in this movie is called the old world or the new world. I forget which one.
None of this stuff was explained in this movie.
Yeah, there's
I
no
hate this.
no
so
character
much.
development, no storyline. It's just action scene after action scene after
Yeah.
action scene with characters we don't care about.
And when people talk about video game movies done poorly, this is
Top notch.
right there.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is one of those, you know, laction movies.
Yes, exactly.
That I like to point out, where it's like the action, there's no stake to it. So, like, you really don't care what happens to any of the characters. It's just kind of boring and dull. Tony Jaa's character doesn't speak any English. And so, like, you spend a lot of time, like, without dialogue in this movie, which I guess is okay for, like, international audiences. But it's boring to watch because you just don't care what's happening. The CGI in the movie is really good. In fact, that's probably the best thing I can say about
Yeah.
it. But I've heard like people who are fans of the video game who take it like really hardcore hate this movie because like it didn't treat the monsters right. It didn't treat the moves right. Like it's
Yeah.
not. In lots of ways, it's accurate to the video game in the sense of how it looks, the style of it, like the over exaggerated weapons and costumes.
I
and
love that
monsters.
kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
I
That stuff's
like
cool.
part.
You know, when this little short Asian dude is carrying a sword 3 times his size, I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Get it.
Yeah, that's
Get
straight.
it.
That's straight from the video game.
I love that stuff. So I can appreciate that they went through the effort to like try and make it visually look like the game and stick with that kind of concept, because a lot of studios will kind of shy away from that. Like, it's unrealistic. We need to bring it back to reality.
I want to know how many times Mila Jovovich was in a car wreck or a plane wreck or
In this movie,
or-
she's
or-
indestructible.
she's tough.
Yeah, I
My
like how planes can
goodness.
just fall out of the sky and hit the ground. Everyone's just cool.
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah.
We're good. We're good. Keep
I
moving.
will admit that scene in the end where the dragon rips the wings off the jet, that was pretty cool.
That's typical Paul
That was
W.S.
pretty dope.
Anderson stuff though, where like he has like cool visuals to some of
Yeah.
his stuff, but the underlying story is absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
I like my whole thing. Like, so Mila spends about 10 minutes unloading a 50 cal Gatling gun at one of these monsters.
It does
And
nothing.
it does absolutely nothing. And then like later on, when she's talking to Tony Jaa's Hunter character, and she's like, I have to get to my ship because those guns are the only things that can kill this monster.
Yeah.
It's like, lady, like, you unloaded like half your ammo into that thing. It did nothing.
Yeah.
I feel like we spent way too much time with the spider creatures on Spider Island there.
And are we really supposed to believe those spiders couldn't get in?
Well, he didn't
to,
like
like-
sunlight.
They're afraid of, yeah.
No. But like they're in
Oh, in the
like this
cave?
like a volcano looking thing, and he's got like a, I don't know, like a trap door or something, and there's hordes of these giant spiders trying to get in every night, and they're just like, yeah,
We're good.
trying to get in, huh? They're really trying tonight, huh?
It doesn't make any sense.
No,
And
nonsense.
there was just so much of that whole first hour of this movie that just didn't make it. Like, why were they trying to beat the crap out of each other so much when they first?
and then
met?
all of a sudden they were just like,
yeah,
we cool?
Chocolate? Chocolate.
Yeah.
Chocolate good.
Here, have a knife.
Yeah.
Yeah,
just-
I did like the fight scenes though.
that was fine, but it didn't make any sense.
And no, exactly. That's the whole thing. Is like it's slaction. Like we're gonna have to
a good
like
word.
And I have-
trademark that
I
word.
have a question. I didn't understand what the whole thing. I'm hoping that you can explain it because you are familiar with the video game. The whole like sand dune weapon dance that they did.
Oh, well, she was training. It was a training montage.
Yeah, put Rocky
Is
music
that
to
what we
it.
were doing?
Yep.
Yeah,
She was training on how to use the fire
Yeah.
swords,
yeah.
Okay.
and then
Just seemed like they were doing a synchronized dance.
that's what they were doing.
I didn't really understand why the sandworm dragon couldn't go on the
The
rocks.
Diablos.
Couldn't walk on the rocks.
Couldn't walk on the rocks.
I don't know.
That was stupid. It's walking right on the sand.
Well, it
It,
gets.
it doesn't have to like stay on the sand.
Yeah, I don't
Why
know.
didn't it just walk up to their cave and eat 'em?
Don't ask questions.
I don't. I just none of this stuff that makes sense.
You know what
It's
killed
like I can kind of get the spiders not wanting to be in the sunlight because they live underground. Okay, I can.
Fine.
I can do that in my brain, but but the sandworm dragon not being able to walk on the rocks.
Yeah.
This isn't Dune.
you know what kills
You
me
know, it has legs.
is that they spend all this time hunting down one of those spider creatures so they can get the venom from
Yeah.
it to take on the Diablos.
Well, they didn't spend a lot of time. We spent a half hour building up to that,
Yeah.
and then we spent 30 seconds getting,
and
getting the
then they get like the poison claw and they shoot it into the eye of the Diablos,
Mhm.
the one vulnerable part that you would think that the poison would have an effect. It doesn't have an effect.
Well, he gets
We just
dizzy.
wasted all that time, on the
Well, it sort of
on the
did.
spider hunt,
Yeah.
where you didn't need it.
It
Like,
didn't
the
do
thing-
enough, is what I think he said, because it does make him like woozy for a minute, but then he snaps out of it.
You know, and then we get through that, and then we get on, tropical Oasis Island.
This
And-
part
and-
pissed me
and
off.
It's just like, and then we get this boat crew of these people with,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we have
Ron
no
Perlman.
idea who they are.
And
And
but,
who-
but those characters are directly from the video game.
Yeah.
Well, then we should have spent more time with them.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That
100%.
should, that's what the
and
movie should have
less
been
with
about.
all of the characters that they immediately kill off.
We
Yes.
get an hour
Yeah.
of
We get them like riding in their Hummer, and they're like looking at pictures of their loved ones, kissing their wedding rings, and then they die immediately.
being really
and nothing mattered.
Yeah.
By the time I quit on this, I was legit furious
yeah.
at all of you. Like unreasonably. I admit, unreasonably. However, I was just so angry that I have to like I do this stupid podcast where I have to watch these dickhead movies that I hate. What am I doing with my life?
Thanks
was
for
so
listening
angry.
to the stupid podcast with dickhead movies. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button.
You heard it here first.
There's just a
It's
poorly-
bad. It's a bad movie.
It's a
Yeah.
poorly put together movie.
Yeah.
And I
that
was like-
should have been way cooler for
Oh,
nerd
dude,
movies.
if this
Yeah.
was done right, you know how freaking cool this would have been with these monsters and these oversized weapons and
Yeah.
they're, it's classic RPG stuff when they, they slam the ground.
You know,
the
I'm
fire
I'm
blows
actually
up.
glad this movie came out because now I can talk about this movie when I talk about shitty modern video game movies
Yes.
and not
Mhm.
World of Warcraft.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I like World of Warcraft.
When it first started and there was what I thought was a sandworm, like I
Yeah.
yelled out loud. I was like, "Oh shit, sandworms! Hell yeah!"
Oh,
and then
I-
it immediately went bad.
I wrote down, oh, cool, crate dragon. Oh, never mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew going into this because it was a Paul W.S. Anderson movie, it was going to be shit.
I knew
Well,
because
my bar was not high. If this had even been a 2-star movie, I probably would have said, yeah, this is
fun.
a cool popcorn video game movie, but man, it's not good.
Yeah.
And I you know how Ron Perlman played it with a straight face.
Dude, what was with his hair? He looked
It's probably from the video game.
he
dude.
looked
I
like
don't know.
friggin' Sabretooth from the first X-Men
I-
movie.
No,
He was giving
it's
me
from
where-
the video game.
Is
was-
it? Okay.
He was giving me Will Ferrell vibes with that hair.
Oh, from from Eurovision or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could feel that.
I want to see the movie with the cat dude.
You know, in the video game,
He's pretty cool.
The cat race is.
Can you play them?
No, you can't play them, but you get one as a sidekick. They're kind of like butlers in a way, like they just follow
That's-
you around and like give you weapons and carry things.
Speciesist.
Yeah. I hate this movie so much.
Cancel this movie for being speciesist
But
against
it
cats.
went from like bad horror movie to
It's yeah.
just stupid. I
The thing is, like, visually, I was on board for this movie. I'm like, okay,
it's pretty.
I can have
visually.
fun and I can watch monsters, eat people and stuff. It's cool. But the problem was, especially by the end, when the badass like dragon came out, I didn't have any idea who any of the characters were that were
Yeah.
fighting it.
Mhm.
Ron Perlman is the only reason I cared about him was because it's Ron Perlman.
Mhm.
I don't even know what
I
the dude's
mean,
name is in the movie.
the scene-
I don't think we ever find out what anyone's name is, do
I'm-
we?
No.
I don't.
I
If,
think-
if we
I
did,
think-
I have no idea.
I think they say the cat's name at one point, and that's it.
Yeah, we know Mila's name. It's,
Yeah.
Artemis.
Only because I read it on IMDb.
Yeah, and her being the leader of this group of badass army rangers. No.
If anybody's gonna
Fuck
do it,
no.
Mila Jovovich.
You know
Can
what's
do it.
funny is the one black guy in the squad is played by Ti,
Mhm.
and I call him the poor man's Anthony Mackie.
That's sad.
That's good. I like that.
The lesser Hemsworth, the poor man's Anthony Mackie. We're so harsh on these
What-
freaking actors.
So, okay, so we watch a lot of bad movies
Right.
for this podcast, but I feel like there's like a hierarchy to them. There's like awesomely bad movies that you thoroughly enjoy watching while you're watching them because
Yep.
of how bad they are.
Mhm.
Then there's the bad movies that you don't enjoy watching them, but you have a fun time talking about them.
Mhm.
This falls into the category of just like a bad movie that sucks your life while you're watching it. It's just it makes you exhausted.
I did.
This is in the realm of Outside the Wire,
Yeah.
like really bad action movies that feel overly long. You don't care about what's happening. It's basically just a waste of your
and
life.
it was relatively short, right?
It was only an hour and a half, dude. I
Yeah.
swear to God, it felt like it was like a
I-
4-hour movie.
Yeah.
It was so slowly paced.
Mhm.
I mean,
But-
I waited till last night after the wife went to bed.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys.
Oh, she'd have divorced you over this.
Oh no, I would never have made
You guys
it.
want to hear something funny?
But I watched. I'll just watch this really quick before I go to bed because it's only an hour and a half,
Mhm.
and I felt like I didn't go to bed till 4:00 in the morning.
Yes, okay. So this
But
is a
I-
funny
it-
story. When Katie sent us the link for this movie, I watched it that day, and I remember thinking to myself, it couldn't have been that bad. I wasn't paying close enough attention to it. I had to have been distracted. Kids were bothering me, whatever. I got to give this movie another chance because it cannot be that bad. And I watched it again last night, right before the podcast.
you're
And I was like,
You weak
glutton for
bitch.
punishment.
I'm like, come on.
It's not good.
I was like, it's. I like Mila Jovovich. I like her movies. They're typically fun, turn your brain off action movies. This was just like, whoa.
Oh yeah, I
Gosh,
hope
it
they
was a
did
chore.
not. I hope they don't make a franchise out of this.
I can't imagine they would,
I don't think it did well enough to warrant them making a sequel.
especially now. There's no
like,
theater.
this was definitely a COVID casualty.
Yeah. There's no theaters left for them to like
I wonder
dump
what
this in.
its numbers would have been so bad if it was in a theater. I don't know.
Probably. All right, let's do final thoughts. Jude, how much do you despise this movie?
I hate this movie so much.
With the Power of a Thousand
I
Suns.
want to give it like a negative score.
Wow.
Yeah. Like it took something from me,
But I
and
thought
I
you
wanted.
said-
I want something back.
What did you give Outside the Wire?
I don't remember, but I did say it's still better than Outside the Wire.
Okay.
However, I hate this more.
Oh,
Like the quality is better, but I hate it more.
Okay.
So I give it a -3 giant spiders.
God damn. 3 dead spiders. Okay. Vader.
Yeah, this was a hard watch. I wanted so much more out of these video game movies, and man, they just continue to unimpress. And I'm just gonna go with my 3/4 star.
Okay.
It's not even a 1-star crap fest. It's a 3/4 star trash fire, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Kadish?
All right, so
Here we
All
go.
right,
Here we
sorry.
go.
the budget for this movie was $60 million.
That's not bad,
It
considering
made-
the CG.
It made $25 million at the box office. It's probably going to be lucky if it breaks even with video rentals and stuff like that. This was even worse than I expected it to be. And I was expecting it to be pretty bad considering what I know about Paul W.S. Anderson.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
He is one of the worst. Like he's up there with Uwe Boll in terms of being a terrible filmmaker. I don't know how he keeps making movies, but Resident Evil made a lot of money for him, so I guess he's still got some cachet there. But this movie was just like, it was bad. It was boring. It was stupid. It had your typical Paul W.S. Anderson non-ending ending where it's like basically just a setup for the next film.
Yep.
They did the exact same thing in Mortal Kombat, if you remember correctly.
Mhm.
I'm not a big fan of Mila Jovovich. The only thing I've ever liked her in was The Fifth Element, and that wasn't because of her. I
Multipass.
yeah. But you know, I just feel like this was a misfire on all cylinders, and I do not recommend anyone watch this. I give it 0 out of a billion.
Damn. It's 1-star crap fest for me. CGI was good. That's all I can say about it. That's really, literally the only thing I can say that it's a positive. is-
Like at least with Creepazoids, you can have like kind of like
movie, dude.
you know a mystery science theater experience with it, where
Right.
it's so bad you can enjoy making fun of it. With this
Yeah.
movie, like
There's nothing to make fun of.
Yeah, it's too
Yeah.
competently made to make fun of it. It's just bad.
Yeah.
And it's still sucking the life out of me as I'm sitting here talking about it. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
We don't have to ever worry
Yeah,
about
no, it's over. It's done.
We can
The
go on.
Band-Aid has been ripped off,
If there's
Jude.
a sequel, I'm not watching it.
We'll get some.
Alex,
We'll get conspiracy.
I'm
Tom.
not watching it.
All right, guys, that's it for our review of Monster Hunter. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like and subscribe. You know what to do. It's YouTube. If you're listening to this podcast on Apple or iTunes or Spotify, remember we do have video on YouTube, so go there and subscribe as well. All right, around the table before we get out of here, where can we find you on the socials, Matt Vader?
You can find me on the socials, on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and some of the other ones at Matt Vader 74.
Right on. Jude?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at I am Jude Juju. That's it.
Okay. Kadish?
You can find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish, on Twitter and kadishbooks.com if you want to check out my Amazon page.
All right. I'm your host, the Salty Nerd. You can catch me on Twitter at salty_nerd. Stay salty, my friends.